Okay, we're on YouTube Live.
Does anyone need to share the YouTube link to the Facebook page? Or it's just on the website?
Yes, it's on the website.
Well, I think that the ones of us who are always here are here, and then Julia and Anne both said that they can't make it. So we can go ahead and get started. Wait, where are you going? Come back, Mindy. I guess to kick it off, have we heard anything back from the district yet or no?
I believe we're on for the, let's see. Daryl said he's hoping to be on for the April 20th agenda as an action item. No, I guess so.
Okay, so that would mean
And then,
4-6 for a non-action, right?
No, it means that
we just skip.
Actually, he said 420 action item and 5-3 action item. I think what he meant was 420 is a discussion and then 5-3 is action.
Okay, so 420 probably non-action, and then what did you say? 5-3 action?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Okay, that gives us a couple more weeks then. But no feedback from the superintendent or questions or anything, just that will be on there or hopefully will be on there.
Yes. Well, no feedback as far as anything glaringly missing for or anything needing to be corrected or clarified.
Okay.
Mindy, I didn't know you had a cat.
Yes, I inherited him when my son left.
Oh, okay.
And the one place he loves to be is on my laptop anytime I have it on.
Hey, page 2. Okay, so the thing we talked about last time was coming back with elective ideas. Did anyone have a chance to come up with their top 5-ish electives they think should be offered?
I did.
I looked too.
Hey, Mindy?
Yes.
Would you like to record these?
And I'm looking for a pen so I can write them down and I can't find one.
Because
Yes, I'm writing them down now.
Oh, I can type them. Sorry.
So Vanessa, what I was thinking was making it so that you can share your screen and then kind of type them in and then see who else votes for them so we can kind of maybe tally them up or. I don't know. I don't want to do that.
It might be better. I don't know. I'm on my phone. It might be
You're on
easier
your
for
phone?
me to share her screen than me.
I mean, I can
Oh,
just write
she's-
them down if you want, but if you want sharing screen, then I can't do that. I mean, oh, there she goes.
I am ready.
Thank you, Mindy.
You are welcome.
Hey, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. You want all 5 of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one I thought I picked was the Project Lead the Way Automation and Robotics. That's part of the Project Lead the Way engineering program. Eagle River High School does that same. It's PLTW if you really want to, but you can spell it out. That's fine too. It starts off with PLTW. So there's a couple of them in there, but the automation and robotics sounded the most fun. For anybody that's going to lead into Eagle River High School and they think they want to be an engineer, that's a fun elective course to go along the way. Then my second one was Family and Consumer Science, which is home ec, but it's called Family and Consumer Science in the thing. And then they had publication, which when I read between the lines is basically yearbook. And I liked that thought process. Then I saw either music, keyboard, or guitar. It's basically teaching yourself keyboard or teaching yourself guitar. You choose one or the other. I'm not stuck on either one or the other. Obviously, I like piano, but guitar would be really cool too. And then student government. Since our school is, patriotism and all that jazz, it would be nice if we had some sort of government to go along with our student council type things.
Amy, do you want to go next? You're the one who said you did, right?
I did. So I would throw in an art. I didn't really get selective. I think, if we have a teacher, they can pick. I liked the look of Business Education 7 and then Computer Technology for 8. They kind of go together. I was also Family and Computer and Consumer Science. That's the second bullet, Mindy, if you just want to hash mark off to the side or something. I was also music, keyboard, or guitar. And then Spanish.
Well, see, now I didn't pick foreign languages because I thought we were doing foreign language anyway. So
Yeah, that's outside of elective.
Oh, I didn't realize, sorry.
At least
But you
that's
get
what I thought. But you
you
have
get
a
to-
vote for Spanish. Got it. Stacy, did you have any?
The only I thought of also Project Lead the Way, just because I have 2 other kiddos who have done robotics, and it was really a great program. I also thought about the Family and Consumer Sciences, the business education was one, and computer technology. And then I kind of didn't figure out the last one. I'd probably be in support of like student government. I'd be in support of anything, but to go along with what our school is focused on too. That's my 5.
Mindy, did you have any that you have a preference for?
I like the family and consumer science, and I also liked a first aid CPR class. Those are the 2 I was thinking of. Now, I was thinking of like massage therapy, and I would volunteer, but I don't think that's gonna fly. So I'll just keep that one off the table.
It was a nice try, though.
I know. Thank you.
Let's see. I like family and consumer science as well, and the business education. I think I liked the computer tech one also, and then I like the yearbook one too, or publication, whatever. And then I don't know, those are the ones that, I mean, I could go either way or any way with the rest of them, but those were the ones that I liked the most.
So I can take Spanish off because there is going to be a foreign language. Correct?
Yes, correct. So my question is, Deanne probably, but maybe Mindy. When I was reading through the elective choices, some of them said quarter, but most of them said semester. And I know, in a traditional middle school model, they would do this elective every day for an entire semester, and then they would swap. So what would something like this look for us? Is it something where we would condense it and kind of not do the entire curriculum and try to do it just every quarter? Or would we try to do kind of something similar where it would actually be a semester type thing, and so we would pick like, I guess 4, right? So that there would be 2 choices each semester, or what are our possibilities or our options?
Well, considering it's, they'll be getting 3 days a week instead of 2 days a week, because they'll be alternating these with PE. You probably would expect a quarter credit for about a semester's worth of work. So if you picked a semester class, you might want to look at what the expectations are and how fast we can actually get through those. So, I mean, it all depends on the schedule that we select or that the committee recommends. Those kind of have to go together. So if you picked a quarter elective, it would make sense to spread it out in an entire semester. But if you're going to pick a semester elective and only offer it in a quarter, I'm not sure how much of that curriculum we'll be able to cover in just one quarter and 3 days a week instead of 5 days a week.
And I guess part of that is, we don't have to teach it how they teach it, right? Would we have to use whatever curriculum they use if they even use one for them? Or could we
Well,
pick our own for them?
If you're not going to use the district's curriculum, then we would need to submit a program design for those courses. Those courses are already approved based on the course description and whatever, not program of studies, but whatever academic plan they have for that. So if you're not going to select or follow their academic plan, we'd have to submit something our own to get that on the district's approved list. So their academic plan and the standards are just the course expectations. The curriculum that you use to teach it, the difference would be between like using McDougall-Littell and Pearson. So that's not necessarily going to be an issue. But if we're not going to teach to the expectations of the academic plan and the course description, we'll have to create our own to get that approved.
No, what I meant, Cohen, I asked you to please be quiet. No, what I meant was if we were following their scope or same like content coverage, but can we pick something else to teach it just if we don't like what they use? I don't even know what they use. So I was just wondering.
Right, just like they use Great Body Workshop for health. If we don't like that particular curriculum, then we choose our own, but we would be expected to cover the same content.
Okay.
Or standards, right.
So I know this kind of goes back to the crazy goat rope of a schedule we were trying to come up with, but if for whatever reason, if we got back to the schedule and we were able to make the electives be like an hour long, but still have them only 3 days a week because the other 2 are for PE, would that make us have enough time? Whereas like, the middle school only has like 40 minutes a day. And if we were doing an hour, that equates that extra time maybe. Or do we just have to say, we want to teach this elective and we'll get it done in the semester and we don't really have to report how much time we're spending on it?
You like this elective, this is the course description, this is the academic plan, we're teaching it as a semester course, or we're teaching it as a quarter course.
Okay.
So there is some flexibility in there if that's what you're asking. But if you're going to pick a semester course and you're only going to teach it in a quarter at 3 days a week, that might be a little bit challenging to cover all of that content.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what I was saying. Like, since they're written as semester courses, should we just do semester electives instead of quarter electives? Because that would be easier with their curriculum, of course.
I think most of the comprehensive middle schools do semester courses. So there are schools like Stellar probably that have quarter electives. So it depends on, you know, whether you want to do depth or breadth.
Well, and theoretically, if we broke it down into, if we picked our top 4, then ideally everyone could do all 4 of them in their 7th and 8th grade year if they did 2 of them and we didn't let them repeat them, right? So if they did 2 in their 7th grade and then 2 in their 8th grade, then they could do all 4.
Mhm.
So if it was like, oh, I really want to do this, but I can't do it right now, like that was always the big thing at Mirror Lake for Josh and a lot of his friends. It was, oh, I want to take applied tech, but some of them couldn't get in because everybody wanted to take it.
We won't have that problem
Right.
because
No, I know, but yeah.
it is when the you know, our teachers are only going to be able to teach one elective per quarter or per semester. So we probably will just have 2 electives going on, one for the 7th grade, one for the 8th grade. Because remember, our other elective is our foreign language course. Because we have such a small student body, there's not a lot of real choice as far as, we're going to call it an elective, but they're not going to have the choice between 1 or 2 class. You know, we're not going to offer 2 classes and you choose one. It will be what the teacher is able to teach for that quarter or semester.
I forget, what were we doing with that, like on the schedule that you drafted? Is one teacher teaching an elective and one having planning time, or were they both teaching an elective at the same time?
Let's see. In our Google Drive. Mindy, can I borrow the screen? Am I messing it up? I hope I'm not messing it up. So in the schedule, it looks like, and remember this depends on, you know, how many staff we have and what they're able to teach. But really, it will be the 7th grade teacher having their prep period when the foreign language teacher is teaching that foreign language from 10:30 to 11:25. And then your 8th grade teacher having their prep when the foreign language teacher is teaching from 11:30 to 12:25.
So what do we need next, since we're all kind of in alignment for electives? Do we need to see if we can track down more detailed academic plans that the district's using and what curriculum they're using for them?
So it would help us if we've already got the course descriptions. We can, you could recommend to the board that they adapt those course descriptions. Are all of the ones that we selected quarter courses or semester courses?
I think a lot of them were semester, if I remember what I was looking at.
I know all mine were semesters. I don't know about first aid CPR. Was it semester or was it quarter, maybe? I remember reading it. I just don't remember.
Oh, I just was pulling that out because I just thought it was an important class for kids to take. I would think it would be semester though, with the amount of information you could give them.
So once we do that, it would be great to find an academic plan. And then the fun part will be creating a report card for that. So what?
Well, that's rushing us along.
Well, I mean, it's work that has to be done. So, in light of that, looking at the academic plan, fleshing out the standards, because the standards will basically be sort of your template for what your report card is going to look like. Because it's going to, my rough estimate is that we would want to have the report card portion of it ready to go to IT before the end of the first semester. So before Christmas break, we should be getting all of those things to IT so that they can start working on getting the report cards created for all of the electives and our core courses. That's going to be a huge project and it's going to take some time. We're not going to be able to give it to them and expect it to be done in a week or a month. Because there's going to be a lot of back and forth with them creating what they think we want and us taking a look at it and giving them feedback and going back and forth with those adjustments to get everything right before we leave for the summer next year. It would be nice for us to have all of those things done so that we don't have to worry when we launch in August of next year.
Okay. Do you want to reach out to someone, or Mindy? I don't know how sharing they'll be with someone who's not an employee, or they might even have it online, but I can't access like a lot of the stuff they have on there because I assume because I don't have an ASD access or something. But like I've tried to look at the language arts standards like back when we first started looking at stuff, and it tells me like you don't have access to this, request access. So I don't know what I can find versus what an ASD employee might be able to find.
So ASD teachers will absolutely have a lot easier time accessing that information. But one of the things we could do is maybe invite one of the curriculum specialists, say for like, the electives. I don't know who in the district does that, but we might be able to invite someone from teaching and learning to one of our meetings to discuss how they create their academic plans or share their academic plans with us for the electives that we are looking at. And that might be something that they can collect and bring to us instead of us going out and trying to collect those for ourselves.
Okay.
But in order to have one of those meetings, well, let me check if they can meet after school hours, what their schedules are like. Normally, I think they try to keep
Do
their
it in
things.
normal hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so electives, you're going to look and see if and when someone could meet with us on those.
Yes.
And
Do you have
assign-
a preference for a meeting
Oh.
date?
Um, I think, and this is for if they can meet after normal hours.
Yeah.
If we just want to tie it in with one of our Thursday ones.
Yep.
That is white foot color.
Can I do a squirrel for a minute? So I'm putting in the meeting dates on my calendar for the school board meeting. And 4/20 is a Tuesday, but May 5th is not a Tuesday. May 5th is a Monday. Is that right? I mean, I know that's right, but is that the day of the meeting or is it May 4th?
It probably, the board meets on Tuesdays, so
Okay,
whatever.
so then it's
Probably
so
May
then it's the
4th.
For
4th.
the 4th.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me check with Daryl tomorrow.
Just wanted to put it on my calendar so that I make sure don't overbook myself.
Well, that's a good catch. So Mindy, do we have our top 5?
Well, yes. I mean, our top one was family and consumer science. And then business education for 7th grade and computer technology for 8th grade tied. So that would be number 2. And then there were 4 of them that had 2 votes, which was Project Lead the Way, publication, music, keyboard or guitar, or student government. So it would just be narrowing it down those 4 into 3.
Do you want
Can
us
you-
to pick now?
Well, what I'm going to try to do is I'm just going to maybe get a hold of Jenny Knutson, who's the senior director for teaching and learning, and say that let her know that we're looking at expanding our middle school, adding a 7th and 8th grade, and these are the electives that we'd like to offer. if she can send over the academic plans, or if she have somebody available to meet with us to talk about how they design them or what the expectations are, whether we can teach them in a quarter situation, or whether those courses are really designed for semesters. So Mindy, if you can text those to me, I'll shoot that off in an email.
La, 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 la.
Okay, what do we want to cover next? Is the science still on its way? Hasn't gotten in yet?
To my knowledge, it hasn't come in yet, but we
Okay.
did get a whole bunch of boxes in. They just haven't been unboxed. Hopefully they'll get
Gotcha.
unboxed early next week. Vanessa, did you want to talk about, did you want me to talk about my meeting with the contractors?
Oh, I'm muted. I've been talking, but I was muted. Anyway, go ahead with your contractor meeting.
Okay. So let's see if I can find this. I have it on my desktop, hopefully. Here we go. So I'm going to share. Okay. So this is our current building setup with all of our classrooms sort of on this, what do you call it?
Outer wall?
Well, right, we have all the classrooms on the outer one, then we have the gym. And so at the very top of the picture, if you can kind of keep that in mind, I'm going to share with you a different document. From our Google Drive. Maybe. Okay, so if you look at the bottom in the white, that is our current facility space. And this is one of the old floor plans, and I think it's dated actually back to 2007. Everything in that light blue is considered phase one. But we ran into a couple of little issues in meeting with the contractor. My recommendation is that instead of just having 2 classrooms, we actually have 3 classrooms, not just one for the 7th grade and one for the 8th grade, but actually one for the electives class. And so that we can probably build out, like a washer dryer, uh, a kitchenette type area for your family consumer science courses. And then also maybe in part of that room, a science hood for upper level science experiments or activities, things like that. And then it also doesn't necessarily give us space for foreign languages to teach. If we only have 2 classrooms, then basically we have teachers kind of teaching on a cart or sharing classrooms, and then where are they going to put all their textbooks and supplies and materials? So it would be like Mindy sharing her classroom with Mrs. Harple for music, or Judy sharing her classroom with Mrs. Murphy for teaching 5th grade in art. So my recommendation is that we do a phased in plan where we actually assume more space so that we can have either 4 classrooms or 3 classrooms in a library space. One of the things that the biggest question that I get anytime I do a parent orientation or a school tour is, where's the library? And parents are always genuinely surprised that a school that performs as well as we do doesn't have a formal library. So I would think that a library would be a good thing for us to have as far as the middle school is concerned, so our students can actually learn some of those skills in finding books. And library science is a growing field, and it's a lot more technical than it used to be. So finding information and doing research and things like that, it might be helpful for us to have a library. And then we also would be losing what the space is called an office. And I know it's kind of hard to see. I wonder if I can make it bigger. Here we go. This office space next to the bathroom would have to be repurposed for a second set of bathrooms. I'm not sure how this plan came to be, because the green on the left-hand side actually has the second half of the bathrooms in it. So I don't know how they were going to phase in just a girls' bathroom or just a boys' bathroom, and then wait for the next phase to have the second half of the complement. So my recommendation would be that this committee decide to actually not just assume the space in the church that's next to us, but the CrossFit place adjacent to that on the other side of the church. And I'll also have to work with the contractors, because this hallway that leads where the storage is, that is actually part of our special ed teacher's office / kind of mini library. She's going to be losing that whole space to create that corridor, and making her workspace about 2/3 of what it used to be. And I'm pretty sure as we add a 7th and 8th grade, that our special ed, the numbers of special ed students in our program are not going to decrease. They're probably going to increase a little bit. So we want to make sure that we still have enough space for a special ed office / work area. thoughts?
So are you recommending that we just take the orange area where the CrossFit is, or all the way the yellow and the green as well? Or just,
Well, the yellow and the green, I believe, is that gym. And I'm not sure.
the yellow and the green, I think, is the CrossFit, because it goes all the way back to that like bay door in the back.
No, that's a separate gym area. Because the church doesn't go all the way back.
No, I think what she's saying is the green and the yellow is part of CrossFit though.
Yeah, so orange, yellow, and green, I think, is all CrossFit. So I was asking if you wanted us to take only the orange of the CrossFit or the orange, yellow, and green of the CrossFit.
Is that all CrossFit?
I think so, because it runs the whole length of the building, and the like when they have that bay door open in the back that you can see, that's not that is the CrossFit people you see working out, not the other gym and not the Alaska Moving Arts Center.
Yeah, the Moving Arts Center is on the other side of the orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I go into that, oh, that's true.
Because all you can see, I think, is the orange, like in the window of where the CrossFit is, and that's just mostly their lobby. But I think the inside, it goes wider and it runs the full length.
Oh, yeah. I doubt Sean's gonna, or our landlord's gonna want to split that up.
He might. I don't know. I think it used to be. It used to be split, and I'm pretty sure that the CrossFit took it over in phases. But it used to be just a granite shop, and I don't think the granite shop was in the whole thing.
Okay, well, if you ask me, the more space we have, the better. We can, build out a pretty, what's the word for it?
I was just asking because if we were taking all of that, I would assume we can build in a special ed office in that if necessary. Or is the communications room connected to that? Do we have a storage room there?
No, so that's actually in, let me see.
Well, if we took over the whole thing, then we wouldn't need her space for the bathroom, would we? Because that looks like 2 bathrooms already.
Well, so if you look here, this is Mrs. Copping's office or the special ed area. What's happening is why can't I get rid of this? What's happening is if you'll notice in the second half, this is all that she's going to have left, because this space is going to be commandeered for that that hallway that goes across.
But if we
so this is this section where the storage is in white is actually the special ed office. The new blue was supposed to be a created new office space. But if we don't assume anything more than the blue section, which is the church, we'd have to take that new office space to make it into a boys' restroom, because right now the design only has a women's restroom in it. If we only assume the church, which is in the blue.
How much have you run the numbers on how much the extra rent would be? Like, does it throw off our numbers really badly? Or because I mean, to me, it's worth it to have more space. Because goodness knows we have enough issues.
But we have no storage
Yeah.
currently. You know, I can't really run the numbers until we know what the floor plan is going to be, and the amount of space we want to assume, because then the tenant improvements will probably be built into our lease.
Okay.
And so it depends on, you know, what we're asking for as far as a build out is concerned from the contractors. They're super happy right now if we assume the church space in the blue, because those are all, it's pretty much a blank space. They have temporary walls up. So it's not going to be like they're actually going to have to tear down a lot. It's mostly just building walls and, you know, adding bathrooms and things like that. They're not going to have to change or add a lot of doors because it makes use of doors that are already existing or exterior doors.
I think CrossFit would be not too terrible either, since that's just all open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, the church doesn't have a boys or girls bathroom already established there?
I think they probably have just a single use restroom.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Because they are very rarely there, and they don't have a whole lot of people that, I haven't seen a whole lot of people come in and out of that space. So I know that our landlord is more than happy to work with us. He's just a little shy about how much work he wants to have architects and contractors do to give us bids, because he's not so sure if we're actually going to follow
I think
through.
I think he'd be more than happy once the school board and the state approve us. I think he'd be a lot more willing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we know the square footage, I guess we could run numbers based on what we pay and do some kind of markup for a build out to estimate.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can figure out per square foot what we're already paying for. And this floor plan already has the square feet. So if we wanted to, I mean, what are your thoughts about assuming more space? I mean, as an administrator, it would be nice for us to have additional classrooms or space available so that you know, we could have a pretty hefty 7th, 8th grade program that gives them the type of variety of courses that they might see in a comprehensive school.
I like more space because then we could build in like real storage too. And maybe one of those other, like the yellow or the green, even have a second multi-purpose room for 7th and 8th grade. That way we wouldn't have to try and be rotating 8 grades through lunch.
Yes.
I think more space would be ideal. That's just coming from a gardener perspective of, you know, if somebody said, here's your greenhouse, you know, and do you want this size of greenhouse? Do you want this size of greenhouse? You always go bigger because you will always find use for it if you can afford it. If you can afford it, you will always find a way to purpose it usefully.
Plus, if we do end up doing, I'm going to call it home ec rather than its name now, you really do have to have a dedicated space for all of that equipment Because I remember we 2 classrooms because part of it was sewing and part of it was cooking, which was a really long time ago. And I'm sure they're not working on sewing too much, but you know, the other basic life skills.
Well, and then really you could have, one room that's your language arts room, one that's your math room, one that's your science room. Or one that's your social studies language arts room, one that's your math science room, or whatever it is. It gives us the flexibility to have more options and make sure that we have space dedicated for particular subjects. I mean, it sounds like everybody's interested in having a foreign language. If we could have, the classroom set up as a foreign language class primarily, and then it could be used for the, other electives other than home ec. And obviously part of studying a foreign language is also culture. So they could switch classrooms too and use that as, cooking and doing other cultural type activities.
I like the idea of storage, more storage too. And then also for the specials teacher, the special eds teacher, that I think making sure that that person has enough space is important.
And what about a library?
I think a library would be awesome. I think it'd be useful for the kids, but I don't know how everybody else feels about it. Yeah, books are important for us.
Well, and if we could have a dedicated library, then that should free up some of Mrs. Copping's space. So even though she loses some to the hallway, if she moves all those shelves out that have books, I mean, I don't know how much of it is stuff requires versus how much of it is library. That would help her with her space.
I'm all for a library, as long as we don't have to staff like a full-time librarian, because I don't know how affordable that would be.
Can I also buy your
Out of curiosity, are those lockers along the walls? Because didn't we talk
Yes.
about that point? Okay.
Yep. So those are our lockers. I did have a recommendation to them because we were really only looking at assuming the church space, which was blue. I did ask them to move these 2 classrooms up to the wall next to the orange and put the hallway next to the reception area, because the church already has doors that are adjacent to our lobby.
Right.
And then have the doors to the classrooms face the office and the reception area, so that there's easier access for myself and Nurse Jan and things like that, so that we can have easily monitor kids walking in and out of the door instead of having an exit door on the other side. So we'd still have lockers and things along the side of the wall.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm voting, I'd say take the whole space. We will use it.
Anybody else have an opinion?
I do. I think we need to take the whole space too, because we'll expand at some point anyway, and we can always use, like you were saying, the library. And who knows, maybe if we end up finding not staffing a full-time librarian, but maybe there's another albino unicorn that is certified in librarianism, but also certified in teaching some of these electives or a foreign language. And then maybe they could do some foreign language teaching for our 7th and 8th grade. And then in the afternoon, they can be the librarian. And then our elementary kids can have, rotate in and out and do a little library, special or something on Fridays or whatnot. So I think we'll use it for sure. It'll allow us to really do something amazing.
Do those plans involve making the 6th grade classroom bigger? I don't see it being bigger, Deanne. So I don't know if I can support that.
Well, but look at it this way, Mindy, with the extra space, maybe we could, bring in like a part-time masseuse with like little 15-minute chair massagers.
Oh, okay, then I'm on board.
Well, I was actually gonna maybe recommend that green section that has the classroom closest to the back on the other side of the yellow. If we wanted to turn it into a multi-purpose room where the middle school, where the 7th and 8th graders could have their lunch, and also build in sort of like a stage or performing arts type thing for music presentations and
Oh, I like that too. Mindy, you can sing for us.
Oh, I can't wait. Give me a microphone.
So if we had drama club or orchestra or chorus, they could actually perform back there in a multi-purpose lunchroom area.
All right.
So you can be really dynamic with the use of space.
Okay, so what do we need next for that? Making pretend numbers and then really just kind of waiting on getting approved so Sean is willing to run real numbers.
Right. So if we mock up some numbers based on this space, and what our current square footage, rate is, and then maybe we can use that in our lease negotiations with Sean, with a certain percentage of whatever the tenant improvements would be. I think that would really help instead of having him go through and tell us what he wants to charge.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have some time, maybe not this week or next week, or if we do next week, could it be after Wednesday? Because I have special ed staffing and we have some interviews that we need to do for some staffing for next year on Monday and Tuesday.
So maybe the week after next.
Yeah. Or, whenever you have some time, Vanessa, if you want to sit down and run
Well, I'll
through
always
numbers.
make time. So you let me know when you have time. And
Okay.
I'll do what I need to do.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else we need to go over here? I did I emailed out copies of the science, and it's like the full student text online if anyone wants to look at the whole thing. But I think what they are sending is teacher guide too. So that I didn't find online. But just if you want to see the student text. And then I put a document on there that was the ASD science one, I think. Did Anne do that before? And then I went through under those sections and lined out where each of the 3 books that we're looking at would meet the standards that were listed in there. And we met them all and above in some sections. So
Wow.
And then I color coded it for each of the 3 different books. Anything else think we need to work on now? Were you and Mindy able to meet about language arts?
What was I doing with language arts? Remind me.
In the last one.
Mom, can I go get
I am speaking, please be quiet. You said, Deanne, don't let me forget to meet with you to ask what you're looking for more detailed, whatever, with the language arts.
Oh,
So,
I think I was talking about getting a report card ready and figuring out the standards for that.
No.
Oh, yeah, and I've got the
Gotcha.
7th grade one ready, and I've got the 8th grade one ready, except for the algebra, the math part.
I think, Vanessa, not maybe at this meeting, but something for us to think about in the next couple of meetings, or think about and then bring back thoughts in the next couple of meetings is what grading and report cards are really going to look like. Are we going to move a little toward what a traditional middle school report card looks like, or are we going to try to keep a lot of things consistent with what our elementary report cards look like? As far as grading, are we doing a 4, 3, 2, 1, or are we doing A, B, C, D, F type of a system?
Okay. Anything else we need to cover today? Or anything else you think we need to be working on to get ready for the April 20th school board meeting?
I don't think so. I'm just kind of anxious to hear whatever feedback I can get from Dr. Bishop's cabinet.
Me too. So we have time to prepare anything we need to prepare.
Maybe we should send them some raspberry rolls.
Ooh,
Give me one.
weren't those good?
Yes, those were amazing. I'm addicted now.
Where were they from?
Lucy Mays, they're in Peters Creek. Like when you get off the highway, there's a building with a ladybug rock, and it's a big brown building, and they have a little space in there.
Oh,
They're right by where Vanessa lives.
They are right down the road.
okay.
I don't have any napkins.
All right. So nothing else you think we need to think about?
I think, no, I mean, I think we have
Yeah,
plenty to do in the next few meetings.
Can you tell me what I'm doing?
All of it.
Okay. Will you just send me an itemized list so I can just start checking things off?
I think if you can put together an 8th grade language arts report card or standards for the 8th grade. You said you had 7th grade done?
Yeah, I have all of the 8th grade done too, except for the math part.
Okay. Do you want to talk to the district's math curriculum person?
No, I just need to sit down with it and look at the algebra part more and figure
Okay.
out how I want to lay it out. Because it's not like number systems and ratios and proportions and stuff like that. It's not those little individual things. It's all under algebra.
So I have a question for the committee. And,
I have
in
an
thinking
answer.
about putting together a reporting system as far as, a report card and what that would look like. I have several friends that I've worked with in the past and know they still work for Chugach School District, which is a standard, all of their schools are standards based. They have been doing that since it was all the rage in the 1990s. So they do a standards based report card. It looks a little bit different and it's not quite as involved as ours is. So I was wondering if um, you would be interested to see what it looks like and how they do grade reporting for their middle school and high school students. Or is that something you want to totally stay away from?
I mean, I would look at it.
Mine's not all the way in. I know it's right here.
I don't think it would hurt to look at it. I mean, I definitely feel like I'm leaning towards the fact that we need to have grades, not 1, 2, 3, 4, but A, B, C, D, because they need to start feeling that pressure when it starts to count for high school, number 1 and number 2. If we're going to, advertise that, hey, if you take this foreign language and if you get this credit, then it gets moved up to the high school. How are they going to look at a 1, 2, 3, or 4 versus an A, B, C, or D? So I don't know how feasible it would be to still do standards based in there as well, but then give them an overall grade that counts. Or if that would be too much of a pain in the tuchus. I know how much of a pain in the tuchus it is to put in grades for standards, but definitely leaning towards A, B, C, D for sure, at least in the core classes and the electives that are going to get pushed off when they go to high school.
I personally, I don't know what it takes to do grades, but as a parent's perspective, I've had kids, my boys are in high school now, and in their middle school, they kept with the 1, 2, 3, 4, and it didn't affect them when they went to high school so much. I think it affected us parents more because we were like, well, how does that, compute to, the normal the A through F or whatever in high school. One thing that they had a program in place for all foreign languages where the teacher who taught foreign language in the middle school, if they wanted to progress on to the high school and do that bridge, the teacher in the middle school had to write a letter of recommendation for every student saying, yes, this student can progress on, or they would, or they need to, they need to retake this course or whatever. But I think whatever works best for everybody is, I'm game for that, because I don't know the background. I don't know how much work goes in the backside of it. But I think it wouldn't hurt to look at somebody else's process either.
So you'll see, Deanne, if they will share that with us or show it to us or something.
Yeah, and I'll see if they have, if, I know they'd be willing to. They're usually really good about reaching out or doing outreach and things because they love to talk about their program. They do a lot of studies and things and following kids after they leave their schools to see how successful they are. And some of their goals is to actually get the word out on how good standards-based instruction can be. They do it K through 12 in all of their schools.
Okay. Anything else on that or before we wrap up for today? Are we good? Good for today?
I think so.
Anyone else have anything?
I'm good.
Nope. Okay. All right, so Leanne's gonna contact the teaching and planning person about elective information. Deanne and I are gonna work on build out / rent numbers. And Deanne's gonna contact the people she knows about looking at their standards rating. Yes,
Yes.
all right. Then if that is all, guess we are done for the day.
Yay.
Awesome.